What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. And as you can see by the title of today's video, I want to talk about a particular topic about voice acting. And apparently there was a tweet that went out last week about how some of the studios like Funimation or Crunchyroll were actually starting to, I guess, replace some voice actors in shows because they wanted voice actors to start recording in studio instead of recording from home. And because some people got hired for these roles and they did not live in the Texas area or the LA area or the New York area where most anime voice acting takes place, they were replaced due to distance. And I have thoughts about this. So, like I said, I want to discuss it. Now, I will preface this by saying this was all based off of a tweet that I saw. And I've tried for the past, at least the past few days, to try and find some sort of article that talks about this. And I don't know if my Google search terms are just incorrect or it's just not pulling up an article. I even tried looking on Twitter to see if I could find the tweet again, and I wasn't able to find it. And I have no idea how true this is, so please take this with a grain of salt, because by all means this could completely be untrue, and it could turn out that voice actors are still being able to work from home and are not being forced to work in the studio again, are not being replaced if they live further away from the areas where most of this voice acting takes place. So I just want to preface this by saying it. But I do think overall it is an interesting topic to talk about, because now you do see a lot more workplaces trying to implement more work from office or returning more to office as opposed to working from home. So, as many of us know, over the past few years, because of what's going on, a lot of jobs that many of us had been told could only be worked from in office, or in this case, in a studio, were then moved to work from home because they didn't want anybody coming into the office because of everything that was currently happening. So this was great. And we saw so many projects actually get done, get started, and like I said, be completed and released while we were on the state of quarantine. And this was because a lot of voice actors were able to set up an in-home studio and record from there. And if you know anything about anime voice acting, all these anime voice actors record by themselves, so it's not like really a lot of people were going to be in the booth anyway. So they really didn't need each other to play off of or anything else like that. They just recorded in their own home, sent it in, and then whoever did the sound mixing or editing put everything basically together, which to me probably would be no different than, for example, if you did it in the office or in the studio. So when I first saw this tweet, I was actually surprised about it, but I was in a weird headspace. I was in two different camps. Number one, I understood where they were coming from because of the fact that they were trying to get back to what was probably a sense of normalcy, or as normal as things could be. So that was originally where you got hired for a role in an anime, and it was definitely based off of if you lived in that particular area most of the time. I don't know how it worked for LA, but I do know that for Texas, they usually wanted you to live within the Houston or Dallas area because it was a lot easier for you to come in for recordings, as opposed to if you lived way on the other side of the United States and would need a little bit more time to get a plane ticket or accommodations for you to be able to get there and record. So for example, they could easily call you up and say, hey, it turns out you need to re-record this part. Can you come in just for 15 minutes? Great. You could do that because you live close by or live at least semi-close by where you're driving distance and able to do that. Whereas if you live in California or New York or somewhere else in America, or just anywhere else in general, you would have to take a plane and figure out accommodations for you to get there and record something that would literally take you 30 minutes to do, as opposed to you recording something and you're there for hours on end or days on end, and then it makes it a little bit more worthwhile. So I guess I understood that part, but what I didn't understand was the fact that they were pushing for it and then also replacing people, or potentially allegedly replacing people, because my whole thing is they've already showed you that they could work on projects from home. They showed you that they can record an entire show from home and it turned out well. So why not just let them continue to work and record from home? So that is where I was just let them continue to record from home. And also it opens up the pool for so many other voice actors that don't live within that area. And then those voice actors aren't forced to move to that particular area in order for them to find work or in order for them to get roles, and they can just stay in the general area, and then they can move there if they want to, if they realize that there are more opportunities that they can get if they lived closer by, as opposed to if they lived further away. So let the voice actor make that decision, not because they are going based on a whim and they're saying, oh, I have potential to be picked more if I move, instead of them being like, oh, well, I can still live, in Virginia and still get casted in this Funimation property and still record from here. And I don't feel like I have to uproot my entire life and move to Texas. So yeah, that's where I was at. And honestly, my entire opinion about this is that I hope they're really not doing this. I hope that they are letting their voice actors still continue to work from home, at least for the time being. And I really hope they are still opening up the pool to let people who don't live within that area to still work with them and aren't just looking at the whole distance thing. Another thing that I thought about too is that if they really did want people to start recording in studio, they make it more of a flexible sort of situation, so that if you have a voice actor that does work or does live within that particular area, then yeah, maybe let them come in or give them the option of coming in studio to be able to record. But for people who live further away, still let them record from home and still give them the great opportunities to be able to audition and to be able to be included in these shows, even though they don't live in a particular area. But maybe, I don't know, this could be kind of iffy, but if there's a role where you're kind of this is going to require someone who does live in this particular area because this role is so intensive, then maybe think of it in that aspect and maybe put smaller voices or voices that don't have a lot of parts in it, and maybe give those to voice actors who live further away. I know not all people are going to agree with that statement. More people are going to be like, that's kind of not discriminatory, but it's kind of borderline of it, I guess, in a sense. But if you think about it, a lot of jobs kind of still do this too, where they'll say they're looking for someone who lives in this area as opposed to someone who lives further away. So to me, there's no harm in them doing that if they see a part or a role where they're like, we can't have someone who lives further away do this part because of time sensitivity and stuff like that. So just some things that they can think about. But yeah, so overall, my thoughts about this is that if this is true, I hate to see this happening, and I hope that they kind of change their minds or be more flexible with their practices regarding this. And I just want to know what you guys think about it. Once again, this is based off of just a tweet I saw, and it kind of sparked this whole discussion, within me about this whole returning to the studio, voice actors having to work in the studio, and potentially it causing so many voice actors to lose out on work just because they don't live in a particular area. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment below your thoughts about it. Of course, I'll comment back as well as much as I can. And also, please be respectful in the comments if you don't agree with my opinion. I don't mind you guys disagreeing, but I do want to have a respectful conversation about stuff. So yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Links below on my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and as well as my TikTok. So feel free to check me out on there. If you like, give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy in today's day and age. Please stay healthy, and of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys. Bye.